Hi, and first off, apologies for not being able to make it to the event itself, but I've put together this presentation which I hope will explain some of the work that we have been doing. So I'm Dave Kilbey. I run a company called Aptitude, and we essentially make smartphone apps and websites. And many of these projects that we've been working on are to do with citizen science. Some of the projects that we've developed are shown on this slide, and I dare say that some of you in the audience are familiar with one or more of these projects as they relate to freshwater ecology. And I'll be demonstrating several of these in just a moment, including Plant Tracker. So what we do, essentially, we work with organisations, researchers, and anyone really that wants a project which is technology focused to enhance the work that they're doing. And historically, we've largely concentrated on environmental apps and websites. And we try and use technology to benefit this process. So we've got several projects where there's a fair degree of innovation in there, but we tend to try and only use innovative techniques where they actually enhance the process of engaging the public to help collect, crowdsource, if you like, data from the environment. The websites that we develop in tandem with the smartphone apps are there to help to disseminate the information that's collected on these projects, but also as another tool for the collection. So not everyone has a smartphone app that they can use out in the field, so the websites that sit alongside the apps are there to facilitate that process, but also to keep people informed of what's going on within the projects. So this flyer basically gives you an overview of some of the apps and how they look. We do spend quite a lot of time and energy on the design and the usability of the apps to make sure that people continue to engage with the projects. This is just a slide with my details on it, so given the fact that I'm not there today, if anyone's got any questions, do feel free to drop me an email at the address that's shown there, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. I'll put that back up on the screen to finish as well. So probably the best thing to do is have a look at some of these apps in action, and what I've done is I've just put the website up on the left hand side, and I'm just going to run through the apps in a very rough and ready fashion on the right hand side. So the first one I'm going to look at is Plant Tracker, and Plant Tracker has just been redeveloped, so it's completely different to our version 1, which did a very sort of good job for 2 years, but we decided it was time to upgrade it. So essentially what we've got in this app is a collection of high priority species that the Environment Agency, Scottish Natural Heritage, Scottish Environment Protection Agency and Natural Resources Wales are interested in collecting data on. So each of the species has information in there about the species. It's got, as you've just seen, image galleries and also distribution maps, but the principal function is to record locations of sightings. So people will go out, they'll take a photograph of the plant in question, then they derive the location using the inbuilt GPS on the phone, or you can also input via a map if you've got a data signal where you are. And the other obligatory information, date is pre-filled in for you but is alterable, and we want to know how much you've seen. So once you've collected that information, you can submit that, and that goes through to the iRecord system, where the data is then verified by experts in invasive plants. So the app features a My Sightings section where you can store your records and then go and interrogate them later on. It's also got reports built into it which give users some idea of how many records they've sent and where they are in the grand scheme of things in terms of total number of records that have been submitted. So a very small amount of gamification is built into that. In terms of the website, we've got many of the same features mirrored that are in the app, so you can record new sightings. You won't see that at the moment because you need to be logged in order to do that. But the website has lots of information about the project, and it also shows you distribution maps, which are all in basically there for people to go and interrogate and have a look at where things have actually been recorded, and perhaps where the gaps are as well. We've also got other maps in here where you can layer different species one on top of the other, which is quite interesting to see where species are co-located. Perhaps says more about where the recorders are than the species themselves, but still it's an interesting perspective on the data. If we now have a look at the second project, which is river obstacles. This is a new project which we produced with Scottish Environment Protection Agency and the Environment Agency, and the focus of this project, as you might have guessed from the title, is to crowdsource data on where obstacles are in river courses. So a lot of this is to do with trying to ameliorate issues in river watercourses according to the Water Framework Directive. So we're looking at things like barriers to fish migration. So the principles are very similar. You go out, you record a photograph of the barrier. There's an elementary mode which you can see at the top, which is essentially just a photograph, a location and a date. Once you've filled that information in, you can at that point submit the record. For once I seem to be ahead of my presentation, which is good. So we're just selecting the location of the barrier, and then you can add other information such as site name, but there's also at the bottom an advanced section. So this caters for people that want to submit more information about their river obstacle, and you can submit the type, whether it's a natural or an artificial obstacle. And then you drill down into that and you can provide quite a lot of granular information about size, whether there are other features associated with the obstacle. And at this point you can specify whether or not you believe that the obstacle is passable by a variety of priority fish species. So this information is all again being submitted through to an instance of, in this case, Indicia. You can see that on the left hand side here. So these are some records that have been submitted to the actual system. And basically this is the verification panel that you're looking at here. So there's a team from SEPA and a team from the Environment Agency that are verifying the records that come in. And those records are then available for people to download via the website here. Again, there's more sort of general information about the project, what it's trying to achieve, etc. And it's still a work in progress on the website front. We've got a couple of reports that we have yet to write, which are going to enable people to visualize that data far better. The last project that I'm going to just quickly whiz through is Aqua Invaders. So this, as the name probably suggests, is a project which is all about looking at aquatic invasive species within the UK. So again, this is an Environment Agency, Scottish Natural Heritage, Natural Resources Wales and SEPA based project. Principles again are very similar. So what we're trying to do here is focus in on a number of priority species, and we've got a mixture here of fish species and things like crustaceans. Signal crayfish is a typical example, which is very commonly recorded by the app. And again, we've got very in-depth identification guides in here, and guides that separate commonly mistaken species. So crayfish are notoriously difficult to speciate. So we've put in some very detailed guides for people in order to try and make correct decisions about which species they're seeing. So again, we ask for a photograph, a location using again GPS or the map, and then that information is submitted through where it's verified. So a similar pattern with the website as well, with pages dedicated to information, and also the ability for people to submit records via the website and also look at results. So that's a very quick overview of some of the key projects that are going to be of interest to people that are working on watercourses. As I mentioned, if you do want to find out anything else about the projects, then do get in touch with me, and I'll put the details up in just a moment. There's a collection of our environmental projects under the banner of the Nature Locator project. So if you're particularly interested in other projects which are to do with wildlife and ecology principally, you can see all of those projects on the Nature Locator site. But otherwise, that's it from me. There's a very faint address there, which I'll just highlight for you. Either that or Dave at natural-aptitude.co.uk will be perfect in terms of getting hold of me. So I hope you've had a good day. I hope that presentation explained a bit about what we do, and I look forward to hearing from some of you. Thanks.